you feeling?
Good. I'm a little like thrown off just because of the time difference, but it's awesome. I went to the show this morning and saw some of the fans, so it's going to be awesome.
Is this your first time?
Yeah, my brother's been here before, so he told me that the crowd is awesome. He played the same place I'm playing tomorrow.
He says, what was your most memorable concert or gig?
Probably playing with Joan Jett. I was on Oprah, one of her final shows, and we played, and it was Women Who Rock, so it was amazing just to be there with, you know, the women that have been around and that have, you know, made artists, you know, possible, women rockers possible.
So you have how many more stops after the Philippines?
I have a few shows in Australia, and then I get to go home. So I've got, you know, some time actually when I go back home, which is great, but it's work hard, play hard. So I'm looking forward to this next, you know, kind of month and just getting to explore.
You left Twitter a while back, but signed up for a new account when you started this new tour. What's changed about your tweeting style, and will you continue tweeting even after the tour ends?
I think what changed was I shut my Twitter off just when I was home in LA for you know, a few weeks after South America and before coming here. I think it's really good for artists and especially musicians just because you get a completely different connection with your fans and you feel like you really know them. You don't have to tweet about your private life because it's not private anymore and it's not personal, and I don't really care what someone is doing 24/7, and I don't think everyone cares what I'm doing 24/7. And by the way, once it's deleted, there's another Twitter page that is only the deleted tweets. So something is never really deleted. So really read it like 20 times before you put it up because it's never gone forever. And I just think, you know, it's kind of scary when you put something out on the internet, especially I just got 1 million followers, and so to know that 1 million people right away are going to read something, even something that I didn't double check, it's just, you know, I think safer just to really reread your stuff and know that you can stand by whatever statement you make.
That's right. How do you deal with the fame, and do you still get that alone time with your family and your friends?
I make it super important to have that, you know, and I think it's also, no matter what, you can't get, there's always going to be paparazzi, there's always going to be things like that, you know, in LA, but I think you make it a limit and you know that here's my limit, I deserve respect, I am a person, and I think you just draw your boundaries and you know, if you respect other people and you do it in a way that, you know, is sweet and they don't want to, you know, be mean to you or write bad things, but you just say, this is my family time, this is my friend time, and this is for me personally and for nobody else.
At 18, you've already done a lot and traveled the world. Do you ever get tired of, or stressed? Have you ever wanted to take a break from it all?
You know what? I don't really get stressed in my work as much as sometimes I do. I think life in general is actually harder than what I do because constantly I'm just creating, and if I'm creating, I'm happy. There's always going to be times where you don't understand, you know, why things are said about you, or, you know, sometimes people just don't get it, but as an artist, that's our job to create what we love and what we want to say, and so I think life, just the silly things in life, the things that you shouldn't sweat the small stuff, and I tend to do that sometimes, and I have to remind myself, okay, I've dealt with so many bigger challenges, it's not as important, you know what I mean? And so I guess kind of life gets me more stressed than actual work.
So you've never reached like a breaking point where you said, you know what, all this ain't worth it. You've never reached that.
I don't think when I'm performing, I just remember that feeling and I know it's worth it. And also sometimes I just get stressed. I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Like, I know there's so much greater things that I should be doing in my life when people think that I'm already doing the greatest thing that there can be, and that people know me and I sell my records and I just know there's greater things, but you have to take everything and say, I'm on this amazing platform, I can use this, and if I want to take time to just go do good charity work, go, you know, somewhere else I can, and I'm lucky enough I can take my family on good vacations and be able to shut it down for a little while. I don't feel like I have to constantly work or do things that I don't enjoy, you know, I'm not a new kid moving to LA. It's like I've worked hard, so now I can take time and take a break, you know.
All right. How does it feel, like traveling around the world and singing your songs to people who don't even speak the same language?
I was actually super nervous the first night I was going on when I was in South America. I was super nervous because I was like, that's kind of what gets me going and gives me the energy is the fans singing along and relating. And I find it totally incredible that they sing along even the whole time when you wouldn't, you know, think that they could. And I still see people getting really emotional even during the climb. You see people cry, you see people laugh during songs. They totally get it. I think it's more like a spiritual connection, and I enjoy that. Not necessarily speaking the same language because I let my music kind of speak for itself more than getting caught up. But it's kind of hard too because I really like talking to the fans, and when I feel like I can't communicate back and forth. But when you tell people to stand up and get loud, everyone knows that.
It's not a problem.
Yeah, everyone gets up.
If you were not in the entertainment industry, what do you think you would be doing right now?
I love photography and I love to travel, so I just think the greatest part, especially about the pictures we're able to take now, is I'm being able to share them with fans that may never go to these places that I am, so I love being able to do that. I love fashion, so I would love to take, pictures and be involved in the fashion industry too.
Have you ever taken lessons for this, classes, seminar?
I read about it a little bit, but mostly I've kind of taught myself. I know the pictures that I like to take, and I think it's like anything you do, any kind of art, I like kind of supernatural and kind of more hippie styles and kind of bringing back the 70s a little bit. That's kind of the style that I like also. So I think just making the pictures that you think are beautiful, and I'm sure there's someone out there that thinks it is too, but you got to take it for yourself.
What was your childhood dream?
Always this, and just always, I was always just excited to learn about every aspect of this industry. I've always wanted to be a singer, I've always wanted to act, I've always wanted to produce, I've always wanted to write, just always wanted to create things, and even if it's not for myself as an artist, but for other artists, so it's always been what I've loved to do, and performing has always been my main one. I would lock my brothers away and make them listen to me sing, and it would always be really bad show tunes and probably not sound too good, but I've always kind of just wanted to perform.
Have you ever disappointed your parents about anything? How do you make it up to them?
If anyone says they haven't disappointed their parents, they're lying. I can think of multiple times, but my parents are always give me the sit down and the lesson. I think the worst time I ever made them really, really upset was me and my brother. It was right when my mom had my little sister, and so we were kind of jealous of the new baby. And we went down and we broke a window, and my dad was like, "You vandalized! Not only did you vandalize, but your own home! Like, how dumb are you? Like, why would you do that? You're gonna get caught. It's your own house. No one else did it." And me and my brother, we had a tree house, and we hid in our tree house for a few hours, and then we needed snacks, and we had to go home.
Oh, how old were you then?
We were probably, I think I was 9, because we had just had my little sister, and my dad gave us a big talking to. But usually my dad just kind of gives us talks, and we move on and try to learn from it.
How about as a grown-up?
There's always been times where they're not totally excited about your choices, and it's not even just one choice. There's, things where me and my family are all completely different. My brother's got his entire face tattooed. It's there's things I wish he didn't have that on his face, but my mom's like, this is who he is, and this is his DNA, and this is what I created, and this is the person, that he's become, and so she just loves us for who we are, which is, I think, the greatest, I have the greatest parents just because of that.
What is the biggest misconception about Miley Cyrus?
I think the biggest one is, there's lots of things that people kind of make up about me, but I think the most is just how people could think that I do the things I do for shock value, or I do it for attention, or I never do. I always do things. My dad always says, everything you do in life comes from a place of love. You will always succeed, no matter what. And so I think probably also just that I do love paparazzi. I do love the media. I do love all that. I do love rumors, because quite frankly, I think it's the worst part of the industry. But it's never going to change. So with everything you do, you just have to take it all in and love it. And some days you're not going to, be totally happy about the way things turned out. But I think that's probably just the biggest misconception, is just how people think that I'm kind of just want that kind of attention, and that, because no one wants to be talked negative about. I don't know who would, who in their right mind, so I think probably that is just the shock value factor.